L for leather. Um, why did I call this video that title? We'll get to that. L. Well, that's first L is Lavette. Good to see she's back on YouTube after a 2-year break. She's been on Brighton, but now she's back on YouTube again. Absolutely brilliant perspective on astrology and so much more. So if you're not familiar with the channel, now is a good time to actually go and have a look. I'll put a link in, as she's mentioned, along with a lot of other astrology channels. This is like 6 planets in retrograde. But don't go with the whole negative default thing and doom and gloom. Oh, it's in retrograde, therefore I can't do. And it's a time for doing the inner work, going back. Probably a good time to do a spring clean or something, really. Internal reflection. Go back over things. See where you are in life. See what you want to achieve. It's a good time for that sort of thing, rather than taking on new projects and things. Yeah, L as well. Lana A LaBonte. There's another channel. You would do yourself an enormous favour if you listen to what she has to say. Okay, just my personal opinion, but sharing is caring and all that. Let's pose a question here. What's your worth? Name your price. What is it that you'll sell out for? Or is there anything you would sell out for? Is there something you can't let go, for example? That can be anything. Pretty much anything at all. Oh, I would too, but I couldn't give up this, or I couldn't be without them, or whatever it happens to be. Because that's the leverage. That's the way this whole system works. I was just thinking prior to making this video, is there anything that I couldn't give up? The only things that, well, no, there isn't really anything, to be honest. I've got very few possessions, so once I'm out of this avatar, it's really not going to matter. It would be nice to think that they went to the right people, or were passed on to the right people, but obviously I wouldn't be able to oversee that in a physical form. But what about the other side of it, addictions? Well, this is now, I was just going to work out, is it 1, 2, or no? It's either 2 or 3 weeks now that I've given up. I was going to say given up smoking. Given up tobacco is more accurate. And it's not even the nicotine, it's the habit more than anything else. Now, this is where my Taurus side comes out, because it's been 42 years of making a point of absolute stubbornness to prove a point. Well, it's more than that, actually, because being of that certain generation, certain age, where it was cool to smoke and cool people smoked, or so the image was given, and family and that, actually. The cool ones were smokers. The ones you sort of look up to, the ones that you think, hey, they're exciting. So, didn't really stand much of a chance, to be honest, on that one, but pretty much cracked that one. Needs must. And this is a perfect example of something that appears to be negative. Oh no, I've got no money. What am I going to do? How am I going to smoke? How am I going to eat? And all this shit. But somehow, by some miracle, it just all comes together. That's not saying that I'm not going to ask again for any donations. There's a lot of things like onions. Do you have any want onions? All I'm really going to need is a few onions, and then leave one to go to seed. That's going to provide the next lot of onions, if you know your onions, as the saying goes. So yeah, the whole smoking thing, it's more the sort of ritual, and it is a ritual. It's very close to sort of breathing you would do in a meditation. It's going through the motions, and this is why you wonder why you've got these 70 added substances that may cause cancer. It's not the tobacco, it's the 70 added substances. It's written on UK packets, and actually probably all the, in the respective languages, all the EU at least, will have this slogan saying that in black and white. I mean, they haven't. You can't, how much plainer can you make it? It's in black and white for you to see. But most people, they misread it. They see tobacco and cancer, the first and the last word, and they glaze over on the middle bit, and they won't actually properly read what is being said. It says tobacco may contain or contains over 70 substances. I'll start again. Tobacco contains over 70 added substances that may cause cancer, but of course there's no list of what those things are. You probably can find it. I know things like formaldehyde and whatever is in there, so it's pretty unpleasant stuff. So yeah, it's really strange. It's not actually the nicotine at all. That's what I thought was going to be the big problem, but no, that's not. It's more the sort of going through the motions. So one way of dealing with it is smoking homegrown. But you can also, to help alleviate things, in your mind or your mind's eye. Now, I'm speaking from a double experience here. I would love to eat a blue flame steak smothered in a peppercorn sauce with mushrooms and fried onions and fried potatoes and sauces and salad and all the trimmings. Mouth-watering as I'm speaking it. I've got the sensations. I've also got the taste because I've got the experience, and I can instantly recall what that tastes like. So by extension, I've done exactly the same with smoking. So it's basically an extension of Neville Goddard's teachings. And by that, it's using the imagination. Now, you're picturing in your mind's eye with your imaginary hand, whichever one, if you're a smoker, that you smoke with. Do it all in the mind. Imagine it. And see if that works. Because I've found that it does. So yeah, there's nothing that it can't be overcome. That's all it really is all about, is overcoming. That saying about get over yourself, well, that is exactly it. You are getting over yourself. Your higher self is in control rather than your lower self. These sort of genes that have gone wild. Talking of which, it's allegedly a film for the family, and obviously young children can see it. I think it's probably got a universal rating on it, and it's that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory film with Gene Wilder. Now the thing is, I'm not going to put a link in the description to this because I don't really want to even see it again, to be honest. But it's I can remember the thing, and it's like WTF to it when I saw it. And of course, seen it several times. It's one of those things that would do the rounds at certain times of the year, the silly season, Christmas. Family entertainment. So you've got this scene in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with the Oompa Loompa and the boat. All I'm going to say is you've got the children and their one parent or guardian on this boat. Now the girl called Veruca, this spoilt child with this, I think it's Roy Kinnear plays the part of the father. I want an Oompa Loompa boat, I want this, and she's got this father who's wealthy, and they just pander to her every whim. She's like ego out of control. But at the end of it, she says, I do not want an Oompa Loompa boat. And the reason being is, when they're going through this tunnel, both the parents or guardians, and particularly the children, are rather freaked out by all these scenes. I seem to remember there's like maggots and all kinds of unpleasant things. But look at the expression on Gene Wilder's face. Talk about genes, the animalistic, the relishing that comes through. Now, that is entertainment, is it? Is it any accident that you've got this Gene Wilder who's got blue eyes and blonde hair? I mean, what the hell is this message in this film really about? What's it really saying? You know? Is that the sort of thing? I mean, never mind Walt Disney, but children are subjected to this. What sort of psychological imprint is that trying to put into the mind? And what the hell is that really all about? I'm not asking. This is a metaphorical, or sorry, a rhetorical question. I get the word right. I'm not asking anybody that maybe listen to this for an answer, because it seems I know exactly what it's doing. Which brings us to another point. This is something that's often raised from different perspectives. But go with this one. You've got Jesus, or Jesus Christ. Now that's an archetype. Never mind about the history and true or not untrue or whatever. And it's, I come with a sword. Okay, so this is not to be taken literally at all, and it's nothing to do with this world. This is about the spiritual world. It's about cutting ties. It's about cutting through the veil. It's not for killing anybody. This is for killing what has no right to live. So it's nothing living. This is killing bullshit belief systems. This is for killing non-living entities, severing connections with such things. It's one thing that is readily apparent in this reality. David Icke calls it the hidden hand, and probably there's a lot of other people have mentioned it in that way as well. And the handler, you've probably seen the black and white photos, always got one hand tucked in a jacket, that kind of thing. The thing is, the hidden hand doesn't like getting its hands dirty. It operates by setting things up and then using various temptations, adverts, which is the adversary, all kinds of things, all kinds of distractions. It basically gets humanity to do its dirty work. That is how the mechanism works. Can it be stopped? What do you reckon the chances are of every human being, however many there are, of actually just drawing a line in the sand and severing all ties with its operating system? I thought this could be heaven or hell. I heard a mission bell. Just to paraphrase Hotel California. See, you can check out any time you like. I mean, go and jump off a bridge or something. Jump in front of a... Actually, don't do that, because you can check out any time you like, but you cannot leave. You, as that physical avatar, can check out, but you, as an eternal spirit, you're gonna just come back straight back in it. There's no shortcuts with this. I don't care whether you believe that or not, and you may have the idea that you're born, you live, and you die, and that's it. The sort of atheist thing. Well, I doubt anybody that's listening to this is of that mindset anyway, fortunately. That'd be an awful waste, and it would make the whole thing absolutely futile. But how brilliant is this game? Because ultimately, because I'm just pointing to things in the external. But let's go internal, because it is all an inside job. It's also an Italian job in more ways than one. The film alludes to it. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Oh look, we've got another actor, another one of those actors with the blondish colour hair and the blue eyes again. There's a bit of a pattern developing here, isn't there? A bit like Simon and Garfunkel. One is the sort of dark-haired representing the devil, the other one is the angelic voice. It's shown in every possible way, but Richard Wagner, warned about the way art was going. Now, if you think the Willy Wonka film is art, with that type of thing, that's precisely what Wagner was warning about. We're going to be looking at that in the near future. But at the moment, it suffices for me to talk about things like this. Just checking the time, we're almost up to 18 minutes. That's incredible, considering this is going to be Tales to be Told in the Dark, number 18. 1 and 8 is 9. It's all about completion, after all. But the beauty of this game and the wonder of this game is, if you're in allowing that lower conscious, if you're allowing your genes to go wild, following the animalistic tendencies, which is going to fall down many rabbit holes, going to trip over many hurdles, come across loads of obstacles, find loads of luring things to be addictions. Could be scratch cards, could be video games, could be smoking, could be alcohol, could be anything, pretty much anything and everything that you can't do without. Could be a possession, it could be a house, it could be a car, could be family, could be children, could be loved ones, all sorts, could be a pet. These are all things that are then used as leverage by this non-living entity, this hidden hand. But there are plenty that will sell out. And some will sell out quite cheaply. It's quite amazing, actually. That's why the way the world is the way it is. It's because people will keep taking from the fruit from the tree of knowledge, the tree of contrasts. Keep looking externally. That's not to say that you can't do that, because like I've said on, I think it was on a previous one of these, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. Knowledge comes from experience anyway, so you don't have to actually bite any fruit from any tree. And the tree of life, well, the life is within you. Anyway, it just depends what you're going to feed it with. And of course, via the mind as well. It's entertainment. What is being allowed to enter? And how contained is it? And obviously, ment is mind. That's why it says in the biblical thing about take no thought. And this is why you have this saying about to know everything is to know nothing. Because you've already got life experiences, the subconscious has recorded the whole lot. Consciously, you're not even aware of it, and of course, you've got the 8-hour gaps, roughly. You've got roughly a third of every day. 8 out of those 24 hours where you've got a gap in your time frame. When you go into the other world, because you're in 2 days' world after all. You're in a conscious one, a waking one, and a sleeping one. Waking as in the sense of, in the sort of like the daylight hours, not waking as in awakening. Just be clear on that. And then there's the other type of days, which is the one where the physical body is generally horizontal. And the etheric and your physical body are left behind. See Rudolf Steiner lectures on this one, I've mentioned this before. But also have a look at the threefold man. After all, this is all about know thyself. I know I've just said take no thought. But it doesn't mean don't listen to anything at all. It is all guidance. Otherwise, I might as well not say a word and just stop making videos and say get on with it yourselves. But it's benevolence, it's sharing is caring, and I'm not saying do anything that I've suggested. I'm just giving you testimony of like with the giving up smoking. It's something that I think it's Tom Campbell talks about. If you try and do it from the intellectual level, it's not going to work. You've got to do it from the heart. Then you're guaranteed a success. Because you can throw up, we'll stick with smoking, you can throw up all the reasons not to smoke, like purely just the cost. Never mind the health, just the cost of it. And of course, the reason why it costs so much is because you've got this third party. And you'll find this third party sticks its fingers without actually getting them dirty. Because it doesn't do it itself, it coerces. It can be through all manner of ways. This is one that came back to me. Going into the bank and saying that you've changed address, and then they're asking you where you work. I just turned around and said, it's none of your bloody business where I work. It's like, if you really want to know, just look at the bank statements and see if there's a pattern of some credit going into the account from. If you really want to know, this is one of these subtle things of how easy people give away the power. And of course, there's all other types of coercion. It's like, well, if you need it, if you want this, you've got to agree to the terms and conditions. Otherwise, you can't have it or you can't use it. You just got to weigh up inside yourself. Is it something worth having? Weigh it up. I would say, I mean, like YouTube, the terms and conditions, they keep getting changed anyway, and then it's applied retrospectively. But it is what it is. It's just a tool. It's better than standing on the side of a hill and preaching. Because you reach a far wider audience with something like YouTube. I know there's all the thing about the censorship and that, but use your imagination. You can work around it, can't you? This is just the external world, the artificial intelligence world, whatever you want to call it. It's actually guiding in a very twisted way. You just got to undo the twist and see it for what it really is. It's just a tool. Could I do without it? Well, if it's all shut down, I wouldn't have a choice anyway. It wouldn't be the end of the world in any sense. It certainly wouldn't be the end of this internal world. Don't get me wrong, I would miss it. And it's a way I can communicate with a lot of you on a personal level, not just YouTube, but through Messenger and things. If you want to contact me, it's in the description on every video. There's email, there's Messenger, there's other means as well, but initially there's that. Well, we're up to 25 minutes. I think there's quite a lot in this one. So, I mean, yeah, the question, all the questions I'm posing, these are questions you should really be asking yourself internally. This is where you go into the communion within oneself. Go and just sit there in a room on your own, or sit under a tree or something, whatever takes your fancy, and just mull over these questions. Ask yourself these questions. What is your price? Name your price. Can you name your price? What is it? You know, can you draw a line in the sand and say, no more, not putting up with this way these things are. I'm not prepared to just moan about it. I'm not going to just take the negative energy. I'm not going to be giving away my energy because it's being sucked out of me by something that's got my attention. It is basically harvesting my energy. It's not money that makes the world go round. It's human energy that makes the world go round. And I'm not talking about a supposed spin. But the world does go round. It's the thoughts in your head that go round and round, your own internal world in your skull, depending on what you're taking in through the eyes and through the ears and what you're ingesting. Anything that's going in your body. And it can be thoughts, because your thoughts will create a chemical change to your body. Just to use another Rudolf Steiner analogy, why are the cows there? Because there is a meadow. The conditions are right for those cows to be there. So if you're going to get any form of dis-ease, why do you think that is? Could it be that the conditions are right for that dis-ease, or could it be your body is telling on you and you're getting what you think is a pain, but it's not a pain? This is the thing. It's an alarm system going off. It's your body telling you something ain't right. And it's generally going to be something that you've created in your mind that has caused the chemical imbalance. It can also be an addiction to certain types of things. Basically, anything with a barcode on it ain't good for you. A barcode. Do you want to put yourself behind bars? Because that's effectively what you're doing. Slavery still exists today. It's called indentured servitude. It's called debt, with a silent B. Funny that, isn't it? I know I said I was going to leave it there at 25 minutes, but it just sort of rolled on. And it also allows for clipping of... I've not had this problem personally, but I know people that have had problems with ends of videos clipped off. It's almost like that's deliberate, because it seems to be where videos have had a lot of work put into them, editing and things. I just do it straight off the top of my head, as it were, metaphorically, and there's a pun in that one as well. But it's true. It's a figure of speech, but that figure of speech doesn't actually have a physical form. That's the cosmic joke, the divine comedy, you see. It's a wonderful thing. Now that's a good place to end, and it was 29:44. So I will say, love to you all. Ta-ta for now. As a reminder, Lavette channel, and as Lavette says, bank that karma. Do a random act of kindness. That's a pretty good one to go by. And the thing that sticks in my mind that Lana said, Lana A LaBonte channel, is about things that stick in your mind. And that's the thing, it's instant recall when you need it. It's like, consider why those things have stuck in your mind. There is a reason for it. Everything has a reason. A reason, a reason. Finding the light within inside oneself, basically, is the reason. You can sit around waiting for an external saviour if you really want. That's up to you, but I think you'll be waiting for a long time. There was a joke about go and ask for a long wait in... it's like a practical joke to the newbie in a job. Go and ask the supervisor or go and ask someone for a long wait. Well, you're looking for an external saviour, that's just exactly what you're going to get. But you don't have to take my word for it, but you're welcome to try it. That's entirely up to you. But personally, I wouldn't recommend it. And just to end again, all donations are gratefully received and would be very much appreciated at the moment. Doesn't have to be a lot, but I will be doing video evidence of what it is going to be spent on, because I can assure you it won't be spent on tobacco, unless it was tobacco seeds. But I wouldn't mind getting some black nightshade, actually. That's a pretty good smoke as well, and that's not illegal, and it's a prolific grower in the right conditions. So another way of cutting out this third party, this non-living entity that wants to stick its oar in, or always wants to take a bit of whatever you've got, and you've got to ask permission from it to do anything, of course. It wants its fingers in every pie, doesn't it? But it's like, no, it can F off, basically. It's non-living, so can it be killed? Well, I can do my part of it. I can sever as many ties with it as possible, which is exactly what I'm doing. So how far am I prepared to go? Just as a final one, I'm all in on this. I'll tell you what, I'm prepared to wager my very soul on this one. I wager, and I put up as my price, I put my existence, my soul, my eternal spirit, whatever you want. That is as how far I'm prepared to go with this one. I ain't budging off this one. So I hope that there are those that are prepared to match me on this, because I'm not asking anybody to do anything I wouldn't do myself. Thing is, I know who I am, so this is a win-win either way on this one. See, I watch what the system does, this hidden hand, and I can reflect back at that system, and if I have to do this on my own, I can do it. But I know I'm not on my own, am I? Huh. And ultimately, this is all an internal job, but there is an external world. We're here to have an experience, so I do take that into account. So just for the record, once more, I am all in on this one. So love to you all.